Greetings, members of the Blacklight community. Just wanted to make a quick video about Blacklight Retribution and the future of it. As many of you know, some of it has been sold recently. Portions of it have been sold to a company called Paradox. They own, I think, 1/3 of the company now. And in January, or possibly in January, we're supposed to be getting an update. I'm not sure what this package of this update is going to include, but as far as I can see from what they have on the disclaimer on the website, as far as what is going to be involved, it's mostly going to be glitch fixes and some, not even camels, but just some helmets, cat hats specifically. And I wanted to kind of address this because I think that there's some things that the Blacklight can offer the players still. And I think you're going to hear a lot of people say that, oh, it's dead and there's no way it can come back and I wish it would die and that kind of thing. But, I mean, those people really have no vested future in the community anymore. They're pretty much playing all the new stuff now. And just to be more specific, this game is very old. It's probably, I think I remember when I purchased my PlayStation 4 back in 2013, I didn't see any of the games that I really wanted to buy. Killzone was just not something that I really was geared toward, and Knack, and there was just a lot of like first come games that were produced with the console. And I remember purchasing my console and not really have anything to play on it. And then they had Blacklight Retribution, and I downloaded it, and it was a lot of fun, and it was still very new. And there's a lot of old beta clips that I have that are just very, very slow paced, and it is just when you see the community now, it's just so different. They've increased a lot of things, a lot of costumes, they've taken the stamina off. There's been just a lot of, I would say, improvement. People say they've taken stuff like that out, kind of ruins it, but I think it changes the dynamic, because when you see how slow paced it was back in the day, it's just such a different game now. Anyways, I wanted to go over some of the things that I thought would improve the Blacklight community now, as it stands. As many of you know, many of the PC players know that there has been like that sort of drought, and this is more specifically toward PlayStation 4 players. The PC owners know that they've been kind of sort of neglected the same way when we got PlayStation 4 Blacklight Retribution. A lot of those people kind of didn't really have any outlet. There was no updates anymore. They sort of just abandoned the PC version to give full attention to PlayStation 4, which I don't know if that was a good choice. Obviously it was not, but there's a lot of people that held out and still played it a lot. I know my nephew plays it quite a bit on PC, and I would say it's kind of dead right now. There really isn't. I mean, if you go jump on the PlayStation 4, there are a good number of people that are still playing it, but for the most part, it's not quite as bad as PC. And the dynamic of just the way that people play it's just so different. Like, I was watching him play the PC, and just people just play a little bit, not slower, but just more careful, and just PlayStation 4 players just seem like more aggressive, and to me that's just more fun. But just back on topic, I think that there's a lot of things that they could have done, giving attention to both versions of the PC and the PlayStation 4, and kind of, doing a couple things like that. But one of the things that I was going to bring up about some of the stuff, just overall, I think that a lot of the things that they could improve on is maybe some of the I'm going to go through a kind of a list. I would say probably some of the artwork, a lot of it is, actually very good if you see some of it. But most of it is not really shown in parts of the game. There is a lot of, I guess you could say, like when you make achievements or you level up, there's that sort of annoying thing that keeps posting every time you level up as you're prestiging. And there isn't really any artwork associated with it that kind of draws people's attention. It just sort of looks generic. And aside from that, there's little things that just kind of like to polish it up a little bit. I think, of course, like the emblems. The emblems are so outdated for such a long time. And these are small scale stuff. I'm just going to go from the lowest attention stuff to the bigger stuff as I go along down the list. And I think that, just some of the artwork just could use a lot. I mean, I think that there's a lot of attention that could be grabbed by artwork. You have a lot of games that look like 2D, like Atari stuff, and they're doing well. Even they look like NES or barely like Super NES quality graphics, and they use really appealing artwork, and it draws in a lot of people. And I think that could sort of do the same thing for something like this. And I know that's not such a big thing, but another thing I should think of, there should be some ZCoin only items. I think that people gain a lot of GP and spend, and I think that just to encourage people to actually spend money on it, me personally, I'd say I probably have spent probably about overall over since the time I've been playing, which is beta time, so that's probably 2013 or 14 when it came out. I would say I've probably spent overall over the years probably like maybe $65 into the game, and I think there's a lot of people that would say, "Wow, that's a lot of money. That's stupid." I think that that's the kind of the point of having something that you put money into that you appreciate. A lot of people appreciate Blacklight. There's people that aren't going to pay a dime to it, and you're going to have people like that. But I think that there should be a difference between what those people can achieve and what people that actually put money into the community can achieve. And there are people that, I mean, it's surprisingly enough, you see some of the stuff on there, and there's a lot of things that you can only get with a high amount of ZCoin or a very high amount of GP. And I think that there should be a differentiating factor between those two things. There should be either just like a ZCoin only thing. I think that in order to produce revenue, and there's a lot of people that have the ZCoin, they have tons of GP. They're never going to spend the ZCoin because they have so much GP, and it doesn't benefit the company for people to just get these enormous. I saw one guy had like 3 million GP. He's never going to spend his GCoin, even though he dropped money into it. And, he dropped money into it because he appreciates it and he knows it supports the community. And, people kind of hope that when they put money into it, that they're going to see a return. And that return is updates and content and maps and a lot of different things. And I think that some of those things would be beneficial to that. I think that there should be a lot of different things in the game, functionality-wise. Better teammate matchups. I think that sometimes you'll see these like matchups and there'll be like these prestiges all on one side and a bunch of noobs on the other, and you sort of drive away people of the community that maybe just downloaded the game and decided to play and get annihilated and think, wow, this game I can never get as good, because they think that there's equal balance and there's not, and they end up maybe just dropping it, or just some of them I assume pull through and they'll play it. But I think that there should be a better matchup of like how it factors in your stats. I mean, because it has all your stats on there, it should factor in stats. It should factor that in and balance that out so that there's a balance. Anyways, I think there should be like hosts volunteering, somebody that knows that they're going to play a couple matches continuously and has a good connection. I think that should be given like an option that you can volunteer for that somehow in the map, like whether you do it when you're playing or you offer to do it, because I mean, it is kind of annoying when you are playing and then all of a sudden the host leaves, and sometimes it could just be like, I have a terrible ping, and sometimes, more times than often, for whatever reason, it seems like I'm the host, which I don't know why, but it picks me as the host, so most likely people are usually lagging. So it will make sense for somebody with a higher megabytes per second connection to be the host, especially if they're going to stay there and stick around for a little while longer than me per se. If they're going to stick around for 7 matches, I've seen some of these guys play this game for like an hour, and there's constantly, at least throughout the duration, there's at least 3 host migrations. Wouldn't it make sense if that guy has a good connection to say, hey, I want to be the host? And it's just no brainer, honestly. I think that there should be a lot more lures to the game. Say, for instance, like when you level up and that kind of thing, the artwork was kind of one of the things I was mentioning. But I think also some of the things that would benefit would possibly be like stuff in the news, in the activity feed, things that kind of draw people in. One of the main things that people liked about Blacklight Retribution is that it was free and you could just download it and play it. You don't have to spend any money on it, and there should be no incentive for people to want to play the game. If they have to spend money on it, they should go in there, not wanting to spend money and just playing it, and then realizing, hey, this is a fun game and I want to put some money in. That's pretty much how that happened with me. Like, I just was like, well, let me see what this is all about. And, I wanted to not have to level up, and I purchased a lot of things right away. But I think that honestly in the activity feed, there should be like free items given away to people that maybe could differentiate that free items, helmets, weapons, that type of thing, that draw people in, stuff that's cool that people say, oh, a free item. They will jump on that so fast. And I think that if they appeal to that, it would get a lot more people in the community to take an interest in Blacklight. One of the other things I was going to say is, I guess I'm not personally in a clan, but I know that clans are a big deal. I think that it would, for some people, I think that it would be kind of a fun thing to have like clan tournaments that are hosted by Blacklight, like monthly. And I think that sometimes that those things could be done legitimately. I think that sometimes they're going to do something soon where, PC moves over to Steam. But as far as PlayStation 4 is concerned, I think that it would be cool to have something that's hosted by Hardsuit Labs that is official, and you get things like titles, helmets, things that, maybe they could do something like a monthly thing where you just get like a title, and maybe as you progress you can get increased titles of different things where you could put, like where it says beta tester or jerk face or whatever they can, you can get different things from it from competing. And I think that would kind of create a incentive for people that are in clans to compete against each other legitimately and try to get these titles. And maybe they could do a yearly one where you actually get helmets and you get special things that people can attain. I think a lot of that rarity is sort of the principle of what Blacklight is about, as far as some of the stuff that is a challenge to attain. I hear some of these things that there was like some quests back in the day. I never even heard of it. So it's sort of like low key. But if they can make some of this stuff official and make it obvious that there are clans out there that want to compete for this stuff, want to have those titles, I think it'd be a good thing, honestly. I think that one of the other things I was going to talk about as far as longevity, I think, honestly, people will say that the game is dead and that it's not going to go anywhere. And in some part, I kind of agree in the sense that it is from 2013 or 14, roughly, at the beginning of it anyway. And pretty much you have this whole idea that, as the game progress, it looks a lot dated. I don't feel that way. I think it looks fine. But there is a lot of people that don't really want to play this game anymore because they feel that the graphics don't look good enough anymore. And I can understand that. I mean, they get real spoiled by playing these new games that look gorgeous. And they play they go back to something like Blacklight Retribution, which hasn't honestly been touched in a long time. And there really isn't any kind of appeal to want to go back to that because it looks dated. And I could kind of see that. I could get it. One of the things I was going to mention was that I think that it would be a good thing to kind of take an interest into revamping the graphics, not for the PlayStation 4, but as a longevity in the future. It would make more sense to kind of gear the graphics and beef them up for something like the PlayStation 5. Now, a lot of you might maybe think, oh, well, that's just silly. People won't play that. Like, they're not going to want to jump on something like that. They're going to want to play the new titles, and that's possible. But I think insofar as there's a community following for this game, if they are to buy the PlayStation 5 and to, purchase games for it, I would think that they would want to still play Blacklight Retribution either on the PlayStation 4, or they would want to either play it on PlayStation 5, the console that they already own, and, updated graphics. I think that, they could redo all the weapons, all the maps, all the characters. They could redo all of that. The blast, explosions. I mean, the audio seems to me fine. Maybe it's a little dated, but I think that they could do even that, honestly. And I think that cross compatibility would be nice, because you can have people on PlayStation 4 playing the version that it is now, and you can have people on the PlayStation 5 playing the current version, which is the updated version with the high graphics, and they still playing the same game. It would still be the same game. It would have all the same maps. It just would be updated graphics, and you wouldn't lose a community. Basically, you would have people competing. People on PlayStation 4 really wouldn't feel any difference. There wouldn't be any type of lack of, community. They would gain community from people on PlayStation 5. And, a lot of people don't really realize that when a new console comes out, a lot of these players, a lot of these people, they drop the old console like immediately. They will go and trade their PlayStation 3s in, or give them to the kid brothers, or, give them away to, GameStop and get, $20 for these stupid old consoles that really are still good. And I think that that's kind of one of the things that happens with when a new console comes out. PlayStation 4 users will pretty much just drop it and go to PlayStation 5, and therefore you lose community that way. Wouldn't it be better to kind of maintain that community and broaden it? Because you would, I remember when I saw PlayStation 4 when it came out, there was a lot of advertising for Blacklight Retribution and download now and all that sort of thing. You don't see any of that stuff in the store anymore. They have a lot of free games that are competing equally for something that isn't 6 or 7 years old, or roughly 5 years old anyways. But by the time people watch this and stuff, it probably will have been 6 or 7 years. I think that a lot of that could kind of be, you'll gain a lot of community basically having it on both consoles. And honestly, I mean, they could even do cross compatibility like they do with Rocket League. I mean, I don't think that they could do anything where it's like PC and PlayStation people, PlayStation 4 people, or PlayStation 5 people playing together. But I mean, there is another community like the Xbox community. That would be kind of cool to be playing across consoles. That would be neat. I don't think it has to be some kind of like console war. It would just be, you're on playing on the PlayStation 4, and maybe it'll show an icon of what you're playing. PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox One S, or Scorpio, whatever, all that stuff. I know they have like 3 different versions now or something. And you would broaden the community and, have an updated graphics for that Xbox version, and maybe do the updated version for PlayStation 5. I mean, it's around the corner and it's going to happen anyway. So to me, it just seems like it would make sense. I just think that a lot of that stuff would be beneficial to the community. And just let me know if there's anything that you think I should have covered in this. I think that one of the things that people might bring up is one thing that would improve the community would be to take the fire and poison out. And to that, I'd say, yeah, I could kind of see how it would be annoying. I mean, there's a lot of people that honestly don't like the poison and would want to see the poison gone and fire gone. But, I think you'd risk losing a lot of players that way. One of the things I might mention is, one of the cool things about the game is that you can continue to prestige. And that's a fun thing, but then again, it's like, what is it else other than a number? It would be kind of nice to see the prestige function kind of have some kind of other benefits. I mean, it would be kind of cool, even if it's like small and insignificant. Like, it would be cool that every time you prestige like 10, like 10 and then 20 prestige, you kind of cut down your vulnerability to poison or something that kind of benefits you other than, hey, this is just my prestige. That would be kind of nice for people to high level not to have to worry about this shit. Because the poison is just sort of stupid. It's not going to go away, and you risk alienating a lot of players that like it. I mean, it is dumb, and nobody likes it, but it's here to stay. I mean, honestly. But let me know what your comments are below. I kind of just wanted to go over some things that I think that honestly would help. A lot of the characters could use a revamping of graphics. I think the introduction of new characters would be nice. A lot more costumes, not so much gear, but like actual like avatars that you choose as like the Lazarus or the Duchess. There would be nice to have more characters, female too, because mostly the guys take the female characters. It would be nice to have that. Anyways, let me know what your comments are below, and I'll end this video right now. Just wanted to kind of make a video and give you my thoughts. Thanks guys for watching.